Julia had worked at Greystone Global for 8 years. She was the kind of employee bosses dreamed of: efficient, loyal, hardworking. She arrived early, stayed late, and trained every new hire personally. She skipped vacations, worked through holidays, and made countless personal sacrifices for the company she believed in. For years, she had been told, "Next promotion is yours." She believed it. Her performance reviews were excellent. Clients loved her. She ran the entire Northwest account without a single error in 4 years. She handled mergers, fired non-performing staff, and even rescued a failing deal in Seattle that had nearly cost the company millions. But when the regional manager position opened up, the promotion was given to a man named Nathan Younger, less experienced, less qualified. He had been at the company just 2 years. Nathan, who spent most of his days talking sports and bragging about his nightlife, who sometimes forgot client meetings and left early for golf. Julia was stunned. She didn't complain out loud. She smiled politely in the conference room when the announcement was made. She clapped, but something inside her shifted. That smile hid a growing rage, a quiet fire that began to burn through every late night and thankless task she had ever endured. The betrayal lit a fire in her that no performance bonus ever could. She knew Nathan had been flirting with the VP of Operations, Alicia Monroe, who had openly called Julia a bit too intense. Julia also knew Nathan had taken credit for Julia's strategy report during the last quarterly meeting, the one that saved their biggest client from walking away. Julia started collecting data: emails, timestamps, internal reports, everything that proved what he'd done. She even recovered deleted messages from the shared drive. She found evidence of Nathan logging client calls he never made, forging meeting notes, and editing slides to replace her name with his. She didn't stop there. She installed a tiny voice recorder under the coffee machine in the executive lounge. She recorded conversations in the break room. She followed Nathan's work patterns, logging his late arrivals, his midday naps in the wellness room, his non-responsiveness to clients. Julia even followed him to a conference in Miami, where he was supposed to represent Greystone at a leadership summit. Instead, she found him at a beachfront bar, drinking with friends, bragging that he was just riding the wave until his next raise. When she had enough evidence, Julia made a copy of everything and mailed it anonymously to the board of directors, including a timeline of events, client testimonials, and audio transcripts. 3 weeks later, Nathan was terminated for performance violations and ethical misconduct. The VP, Alicia Monroe, was put on leave pending an investigation into her role in promotional decisions and potential abuse of power. And Julia, she didn't get the promotion, but she didn't want it anymore. Something had shifted in her. Her worth could no longer be measured by a title or a desk in the corner office. Instead, she handed in her resignation the same day Nathan was escorted out of the building. She left with her head high, her dignity intact, and a flash drive full of evidence that could bury half the executive team if she ever chose to use it. She walked out of Greystone Global not as a victim, but as a woman who knew her power, who had learned that sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't getting the position you were promised, it's exposing the system that never deserved you. But that was only the beginning. 4 months later, Julia sat across from an investigative journalist at a high-end coffee shop in Soho. The journalist, Lena Brooks, had been following the rumors about Greystone's toxic workplace culture for years, but never had enough proof. Until Julia called her. Julia handed her a meticulously organized file, printed emails, audio transcripts, timelines, even a secret recording of a board member bribing a client to keep quiet about data misuse. "Why now?" Lena asked. "Because they think I'm done," Julia said. "But I'm just getting started." A month later, the expose hit the front page of 3 national publications. Greystone Global's stock plunged, investors fled, a federal investigation was launched, 6 executives resigned, 2 were charged with fraud. Julia never appeared on camera. Her name was never mentioned, but industry insiders knew. And just as quickly, offers began pouring in. From startups, tech giants, even nonprofits. She chose none of them. Instead, Julia started a private consulting agency specializing in ethical whistleblowing and workplace accountability. She called it The Fire Within. And in her first year, she took down 3 more companies. Julia hadn't just gotten her revenge, she had started a movement. What would you do if you were her?